Hello everyone, CM Freeze here, and about a week ago I made a video on my channel titled Will the St. Louis Cardinals Make the Playoffs? If you can see by the title of this video, spoiler alert, I don't think they will. And this is just kind of a follow-up video to that. I have done some more research, I watched a couple of videos from St. Louis Cardinals insiders, and we've seen the St. Louis Cardinals play in about 10 preseason games. And understand that it's just preseason, it's just 10 games. It's not a good indicator of the entire season as a whole. But I just want to follow up and explain truly why the St. Louis Cardinals are going to be bad this year. So last year, the St. Louis Cardinals had their first losing season in forever. I forgot how long it was, but I think it was at least of over 10 years they had their first losing season, where they went 71-91. And I wouldn't be surprised. I'm almost actually about 80% sure that they're going to have back-to-back losing seasons. And here's why. First and foremost, last year, I looked at the stats in my previous videos. If you want to see the full stats, go watch that. But basically, just to recap, the St. Louis Cardinals, I believe, were bottom 10 in pitching and had about an average offense. I think they were 14th or 15th in offense. In terms of pitching, St. Louis Cardinals were bottom 10 in hits allowed and bottom 10 in ERA. Bottom 10 in runs allowed too. It was just not good pitching-wise for the St. Louis Cardinals. So this season, what did they decide to do? Well, they went out and signed Sonny Gray for starters, and he was definitely one of the better free agent pitchers. Really, really good season in Minnesota. I am very happy with the free agent signing of Sonny Gray. He can instantly come in and be our pitcher one. And from training camp and spring training, everyone says that they've loved Sonny Gray. He's been a vocal leader, and he's someone that demands excellence. And Sonny Gray is going to demand that the St. Louis Cardinals pitchers pitch better. And unfortunately for Sonny Gray, if he demands excellence, he is going to be extremely pissed off this entire season because of who else we've brought in. So in my last video, I actually praised Miles Mikolas, and I said that I was still very happy to have him. I didn't realize that Miles Mikolas was actually top 5 in hits allowed last year, and Mikolas actually had a pretty bad season. He had a 4.78 ERA and allowed a ton of hits last year, didn't even have a winning season. Now, I still think that Miles Mikolas is able to bounce back for us, but he did not look good last year, and he's also only getting older. And then we decided to bring in Lance Lynn on a 1-year contract. And Lance Lynn allowed the most home runs in the league last year, and he was also top 10 in hits allowed. And then we brought in Kyle Gibson, who was also top 5 in hits allowed. And even though Kyle Gibson had a winning record, he was getting stat padded over there in Baltimore. He also had a 4.73 ERA, and yeah, 15-9 record, but like I said, dude was getting stat padded the entire time. So I love the Sonny Gray hiring, but it might be for nothing, to be honest, because we have Sonny Gray, but behind him, it's not looking good. We have 35-year-old Miles Mikolas, 36-year-old Lance Lynn, and 36-year-old Kyle Gibson. What? Like, I don't really get why we decided to bring in those pitchers, especially with Blake Snell still in free agency. If we were serious about winning, why wouldn't we sign him to a big 4-year extension? He's 31. He would instantly be the youngest pitcher in our starting rotation, because Sonny Gray, even though I love him, he's 34. We signed him to a 3-year deal. He's 34. So he's also getting older too. It's not like his arm is only going to be rejuvenated and his arm's going to get better. No, he's at his peak. Mikolas, 35. Lance Lynn, 36. Kyle Gibson, 36. And then our projected 5th starter is going to be Steven Matz, and unfortunately, Steven Matz actually had the best season out of all of our starting pitchers that are on our roster except Sonny Gray. And he's also our only left-handed pitcher in our rotation. So we're going to have 4 right-handers and then Steven Matz. as well. And Steven Matz is 32. The only young guy that could be in our starting rotation is Matthew Liberatore, but he is so hot and cold, it's unbelievable. I have been a firm believer in Liberatore, but damn, man, I just wish he could have some consistency, because there are games last season where Liberatore, I remember he got fucking lit up in the first inning and had to leave in the first inning. But then he also played against the Tampa Bay Rays, one of the best teams in baseball, and I think he had 7 shutout innings. So Liberatore has proven that he has the stuff to be a starting pitcher. He's shown us flashes, but he needs to actually put together consistent games in a row. He hasn't been able to do that. Liberatore doesn't have gas. He's definitely a finesse pitcher, and he leaves balls over the plate so damn often, and he just needs to get better control and not leave breaking balls over the plate so much. But so when it comes to pitching, the only real upgrade we did at pitching was we brought in Sonny Gray. Besides that, we traded Jordan Montgomery and we traded Jack Flaherty last year and replaced them with fucking Lance Lynn and Kyle Gibson. Not good. So the only young, reliable, or we don't even have any young, reliable pitchers because Liberatore's hot and cold. Our best pitcher that's coming back is 32-year-old Steven Matz. So when it comes to pitching, I don't know what we're doing. Because like I said, Sonny Gray is only 34. And if this season's another piss-off season, then he's going to be 35 next year. Now, the only thing I can think of is we do have 2 solid pitchers in the farm that maybe St. Louis is hoping, oh, they're just 1 year apart, so let's sign these other pitchers to 1-year deals and bring in these guys. Tink Hintz is definitely our best pitcher in the farm right now. Essentially, Tink is a right-handed fastball pitcher who's got some elite, or I shouldn't say elite gas, but he can throw anywhere from 94 to 98 miles per hour with his fastball. He also has a really good changeup as well. So Tink Hintz, phenomenal fastball, phenomenal changeup, which in AA baseball and single A he's been looking phenomenal in AA. However, his big issue is he still has yet to develop his curveball. So he's got amazing heat on his fastball. He's got an amazing off-speed pitch in the changeup. He's trying to work on a curveball, and it's just not working for him. Whenever he throws the curveball, that's when teams get hits off of him. So right now, Tink Hintz is projected to be a great reliever. As a reliever, Tink Hintz is someone that can come in and have 2 really solid pitches. So it's like, hey, for an inning or 2, Tink Hintz can be very, very good. But you want him to be a starter. You want him to develop that curveball so that he can actually go multiple innings and face batters multiple times instead of just relying on 2 pitches. And then we also have Robbie here. We got him in Texas with the Montgomery trade, so I don't know that much about him, but from reading up on him, it seems like he's also like Liberatore in that he's very hot and cold. When he's on it, Robbie is on it, and he's got some really good pitches in his arsenal. However, there are times when he goes out there and he can't do shit. There are times where he goes out there and he just can't seem to connect with the plate. So he just needs to work on his control badly. And if he can, then he has the possibility of becoming a good, like they said here, solid rotation, mid-rotation arm. So if you're St. Louis, you at least got 2 guys in the farm that you're hoping can develop and become something for you. But you need 5 or 6 starting pitchers. Right now we have Sonny Gray, who I'm really happy with. Miles Michaelis, who, should be better. We'll see what happens with him. But then besides that, I mean, yay, we got Steven Matz and Matthew Liberatore. We don't have a winning, but we do not have a winning pitching staff. The pitching staff here, I would argue, is probably, I don't know if it's better or worse than last year. Like, Sonny Gray is definitely a better pitcher than we had last year, but then we downgraded from Flaherty and Jordan Montgomery with Lance Lynn and Kyle Gibson. So we'll see. Our pitching staff has gotten more top-heavy with Sonny Gray. The fact of the matter is, I can't tell you if our pitching staff got better or worse as a whole. I can't tell you. And when our pitching was bottom 10 last year, and I'm sitting here telling you I don't know if it got better or worse, that's not a good thing. And then, let's look at the batting, the hitting. So we had an average hitting core last year, ranked 14th. We were basically average in terms of hitting. And if you're a St. Louis fan, you know exactly what I mean when I say this. we underperform as hitters, and I don't get it. With how stacked our team is with hitters, we have some games where we go out there and we are lights out and we're getting 5 to 10 runs. We look phenomenal. But then we just have games where we literally drop 0 runs and look like shit. And I don't get it. With how stacked this team is, we got Goldschmidt, we got Arenado, we got Nolan Gorman, who when he's healthy is a home run hitter. Brendan Donovan has been a really good utility piece for us. We got Tommy Edman, Dylan Carlson, and we had Tyler O'Neill as well. With how many good hitters we have, just my God, there are times where they go out and they look like absolute crap. And this season, we didn't do anything to add any hitters on the team. Our hitting is essentially the same, and we're just banking on some development of some guys, which, like I said, Nolan Gorman, he'll probably be our DH. If he can stay healthy and continue to develop, he could be a really solid power hitter for us. Mason Wim, we brought him up. He was our #1 prospect, and we brought him up last year. He didn't look good. However, those reps are massive, and you're hoping that Mason Wim can take a huge step up this year. We also have Jordan Walker. He was our top prospect last year, and he looked really good at times last year. He had a cold streak there, but it's like he came out really hot, then looked cold, then ended really cold, or ended really hot, so you hope Jordan Walker can continue to develop. Lars Nootbaar has looked really good for us. So on paper, when you look at this team of Lars Nootbaar at left field, Jordan Walker at right field, Tommy Edman in center field, Dylan Carlson backing them up, and then Mason Wim at shortstop, Arenado at third base, Brendan Donovan at second base, Paul Goldschmidt at first base, Wilson Contreras at catcher. When you look at this roster on paper, this should be a top 10 team in terms of batting. In terms of batting, you look at this roster, you look at the potential of these guys, and this should be a top 10 team in terms of batting. I'm not going to say top 5 because there are some really damn good teams out there like the Braves and the Dodgers, obviously. But they should be in that 6 to 10 range. And we're not. We're at 14. And that's because out of every, let's say, 4 games we play, out of 1 in every 4 games, we have just a stinker game for some reason. And I don't get it. I don't get it. I don't understand what it is, but just we'll have a game where we look like shit. And I'm watching the entire game and we'll get 0, 1, 2 runs. So our pitching sucks. And then there are times where our hitting can't do anything to help out our pitching at all, and it's abysmal. So this is why I think the Cardinals will be really bad, because pitching, we didn't get better, or if we did, it was slightly better. And hitting, we're basically just saying for hitting, we didn't do anything. We signed fucking Matt Carpenter, and we signed, who's the shortstop? Brandon Crawford. And both of them are like, what? 37 and 38. So they're just basically there to be mentors to help and develop the young hitting that we currently have, which I don't mind that. So our plan on offense is, hey, let's continue to develop Lars Nootbaar, Jordan Walker, Mason Wim, Nolan Gorman. Let's continue to develop these guys, and if they develop properly, then we'll be a top 10 hitting team, which I really hope that they develop. I really hope they develop. But even if all those guys do develop and take that next step, our pitching still sucks. So when I look at this St. Louis Cardinals team and where I look at what we did last year we were 71 and 91. I honestly really thought about it. And if I had to take a guess right now, I believe that we are going to finish with about 74 to 76 wins. So my prediction would be that we're going to be 75 and 87. That's what I'm calling it now. I'll revisit this video at the end of the season. We'll see if I'm right. I think that on paper, our team's basically the same. Our team is basically the same. We're just hoping on the development of some guys. So let's say some guys do develop. That can get us an extra, what? 5 to 10 wins? But I don't think we're going to have a winning record. And I honestly believe from the bottom of my heart, the St. Louis Cardinals will have back-to-back losing seasons. But anyways, guys, please leave comments down below if you agree or disagree with this video. Thank you all so much for watching, and peace.